Baldy Jack here, and today's video review is on the following.
Hello everyone, Baldy Jack here, and today's video or review is on the NECA Retro Friday the 13th figures. And happy Friday the 13th, first off, because it is. So I decided to do all the figures here, and decided to change it up. Maybe have the music play as the review is going on and not add it in, because sometimes you can't hear what I'm saying, so hopefully this works. So first off, we'll take a look at Pamela Voorhees from Friday the 13th, 1980, and this is the NECA, of course, retro, of course, because that's what I'm doing here, is retro. This was the 35th anniversary set that came out just back in 2015. So I think the likeness is alright for an update. Everything here. You have the knife that she uses. And of course you have the very first figure for Jason. So you have Camp Crystal Lake here. Looks pretty good. And of course you have the moss that goes on him. And the axe. So these figures are really great. Especially for Pamela being an updated figure. I think the only really issue with it is the fact that the sweater is a little bit too bulky on her. That's really about it. I think the best thing about it is the Jason figure, child Jason. Then with part 2, try to kind of go for the pitchfork scene where he's trying to stab Ginny when he's on top of the chair and it broke. So he has his overalls here with the striped, kind of checkered like almost shirt here. And then you have his sack, his eyes showing. You can see it in there, sort of. Then you have the rope around his neck. And then with his accessories, you have a machete, and the pitchfork. Well, not pitchfork, what the hell am I talking about? Double-headed pickaxe. Well, pickaxe, really, not double-headed, but pickaxe. And then if you take off the mask, you have the face of Jason here. There goes this pitchfork. I think a really good head sculpt, but it's only the original 7-inch figure head sculpt that this is. It's just kind of builded up. So I'm hoping that NECA will do a part 4 for retro, because that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Kind of doing a recap on all these figures. Especially I did some of these in the past. I haven't done them in a while. Then moving on is good old tumbling over. But here's Jason from part 3 with this hockey mask. Having him with the Speargun. You have the blood on his shirt there, and especially his knee, which is supposed to be the stab wound in the knee that he has. His hands there. Here's the unmasked Jason. Is nothing like the 7-inch figures. This sculpt is completely different. It kind of reminds me of the cut ending that they originally had for the movie, where Jason cuts off what's her name's head? Can't even think of her name, but that was the original ending. So then they swapped it out where Jason got the axe to the head. So there's a little something if you didn't know about. There was an original ending to this movie. You know, there's only photos of it, so there's no actual footage or anything, because it was that much of a swapped out thing. And then, of course, with his accessories is the axe and the machete. So I think this was the first retro Jason figure. So I think the really main thing about it that's a little weird is the shirt's a little poofy looking on him, but also it kind of gives him the bulkiness that he is in part 3. I'll actually fix these figures for a second, so, you know, excuse me on that one. Alright, so here's part 5, Friday the 13th part 5, A New Beginning, with not Jason, but Roy Burns. So if you're watching this, I think you would know that if you're a fan, of course. And if you're just a casual viewer of Jason stuff, well, there you go. The only weird thing about this figure, which is, Roy Burns, not Jason, is that it's the only figure in this line so far that actually has blood on him and included with his weapons. Well, of course, Part 3 has some blood on his clothes, same with Part 6, but he has it on his hands and his weapons, which is kind of weird. And I have him here with the hedge clippers, getting ready to stab, what was it, Tina Voorhees, funny enough, in the eyes. So, here we have the hockey mask itself. I think it looks alright. I think the only weird thing is it doesn't quite sit right on his face where you can see his eyes, so it goes below his eyes, so he just sees like a skin tone. So when you remove the mask, you have a pretty good look of Roy for the most part. He's got this weird eye thing where he's like looking up or off to the distance, like the one eye's kind of, I don't know, just looks kind of droopy looking if you see like his right eye, but his left eye looks alright. So he kind of, there we go again, moving this thing away. He kind of has like a sinister look on his face. I kind of think of it in the part of the film when he sees his son Joey dead, hacked up to bits. And of course, just put him back here, not tumbling the others over, because these figures kind of are a little clumsy. He has the meat cleaver that he killed quite a couple people with. There's a pretty good variety of blood on it. Then we have the, I don't know what you want to call this, the knife that he stabbed someone with. So, moving on. Jason from Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. And this figure is really, really enjoyable to me for the retro figures. One of the ones I was looking forward to when I first heard about it, back in February 13th, which I don't think it was a Friday, it might have been a Friday. But it looks quite well, and I love the retro more than the regular, because the mask and the eye sockets look so much better than the 7-inch, where they just look like they're painted on, like, and they're not really done too well, and this looks a hell of a lot of a better job on NECA's part. And he's so good, the camera does not want to focus on him. He's got that hunting knife there, with his throwing darts and the pocket sheath, the sheath for the hunting knife. And then here's his machete I put in the sheath. And of course, he has gloves there, the Tommy left, those orange ones, yellow. Then we have the blood on his legs with the tattered pants. And his other is the fence post from the, what do you want to call it, the graveyard. So there's that. And of course, there's his face, which looks quite well done. Once again, the smaller figure looks pretty good too. I would hope that NECA makes a Part 7, speaking of that's what the theme song that started. I really hope that something like that happens. And then our last figure here is, of course, the retro figure. This figure was kind of like a figure that just was a Toys R Us exclusive. It was kind of like one of those things where after I believe Part 5 came out, this figure came out around fall 2014, and then the Part 2 came out in like September. Well, for me, really, so it was when it was released. So, it's basically the Part 3 figure, but the outfit is the same Part 3. The mask is a little wonky looking with the eye sockets being lower than the other. Like it's trying to match the way his eyes are for some reason. Then his shirt has actually much better, as you can see, than the Part 3. So they actually redid this shirt. Like, if you wanted to make the Part 3 look better, you could buy another one of the NESs if you can find them from pretty much cheap press, like maybe $30 or whatever. And then pretty much dye the shirt and color the buttons black. He comes with the same exact accessories as the Part 3, which is the axe, the machete, which is actually white, but for some reason on the camera it's coming out with a silver tone because of the lighting. You can kind of see it. And of course the Speargun, which, wasn't really a thing in the game, but, just comparing the two, you can kind of see one's white, one's silver for some reason. The lighting here is depicting it weird. So yeah, everyone, this was kind of like a little recap. I felt like this would be a fun thing to do on these figures. I really do, kind of getting off course here, that figure. I really do enjoy the retro figures. I know people hate them because of being cloth, or it looks too baggy on the figures itself. But personally, I enjoy the figures. The only thing that's kind of an issue is Pamela's sweater being a little baggy looking, but the more you see it, the more you get used to it, so it's kind of that deal. Like, everything else looks great. I know some people are telling NECA to redo the retro Freddy, first Freddy and then Jason, but, you know, they're kind of fine the way they are. Personally, I love the Part 6, for a reason being that the figure itself looks a hell of a lot better in my picture than the 7-inch one. Don't get me wrong, I love the 7-inch figure, but it's that damn mask on the 7-inch one, and I'll just bring him out just so you can see what I mean. Alright, so here's the 7-inch figure. You can see what I mean by the eye holes on the mask for the piece. How... I don't know, it might be the mask too, but it's just the way it looks. It looks a hell of a lot better on this figure. And actually, with the Part 6, they didn't even get the axe mark right. It's just like this little scratch mark, and it's not even like a entire, like, what the axe mark is. So I actually, you know, went in and did this myself with the figure. I actually added the axe mark myself, so you can see it there. It looks really good. I really tried to get it quite right, but kinda looks pretty good. I realized that, you know, it's kind of like not a straight down, you know, cut, it's sideways. On this, I kinda sort of did that, but I focused on kind of making it look a little better. But just a little side note to add that figure to this. So, yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a happy Friday the 13th, and I really hope that NECA will make more of these, and I believe they're gonna have a Part 4 sometime later this year. I think Part 4, it could be Part 4, maybe Part 7 would be really awesome if it's Part 7. Then they'll probably redo maybe the 7-inch or something. But, you know, when it comes to Part 7, I don't know about how they would do it retro, but they would be kind of like the Sideshow figure, along the lines of that, but just, they would, you know, have the minor detail where he's exposed, not like Sideshow where it's like nearly the entire figure other than his bicep being, you know, just a plastic G.I. Joe type of figure. So, yeah, that concludes this video, everyone. Just kind of wanted to show these retro figures for what they are. You know, still great figures. Hope they make more, at least. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have, well, not had, because, you know, it's just begun. So I hope you have a happy Friday the 13th. Maybe watch some of the Friday the 13th films. I might watch maybe Final Chapter or something. I don't know. But, yeah, thanks for watching.